today's video, I'm going to tell you what my predictions are for 2024. As most of my clients know, I usually don't predict anything because what I have to say about predictions is they're always wrong, at least in part. But this is what my opinion is about what's going to happen in 2024 in residential real estate in Portland, Oregon, and also around the US just in general. This is the most predictions I've ever shared at any given time. I worked in financial markets for a long time, buying and selling all day long. And what I learned was you're very often wrong, at least in part. So with that being said, keep in mind, this is not financial advice. I am not trying to tell you exactly what's going to happen. If I knew exactly what's going to happen in 2024, what I'd be doing is buying and selling those things right now so I could get myself situated to be on a beach counting my millions in the middle of summer of 2024. So with that being said, these are my predictions for 2024 in Portland's residential real estate market, and in fact, for residential real estate all around the US. Welcome back to the channel. I'm John McPherson. If you learn anything at all today, or if you just outright enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. Also, click the link in the description to be notified when we put out new market reports, deep dives into Portland's neighborhoods, zip codes, and more buyers and seller tips. Click the link in the description. If you're thinking about getting into or out of real estate in Portland, Oregon in 2024, we'd like to help you. Contact us anytime. Here are my predictions for 2024. Prediction number one is that mortgage interest rates for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage on average around the US is going to go down to about 6% by July of 2024. I think actually it'll go down a little bit lower than that. The reason for my opinion on that is a few things. One is economists are saying that they expect rates to fall. The Fed funds target rate, again, that has no direct impact on mortgage rates, but it does have some influence on the rates that banks pay when they borrow from each other for short-term loan purposes. And that topic is detailed, sufficiently boring, and not the topic of this video, so I'll just leave that there. The Fed funds rate, according to Powell in his recent announcement, will be lowered possibly 3 times in 2024. I think they're going to lower rates at least twice. They might lower rates 3 times. I expect the Fed funds target rate, that is, to be lowered by 0.25%. The first time being in around April, next time probably around July or August, and then again around November. They might sneak in a 4th drop before the end of 2024. Again, that'll have some impact on mortgage rates, but no direct impact will be had on mortgage rates just because of a Fed funds rate drop. One of the reasons why I say rates will continue to fall, mortgage rates that is that the Treasury bond yields to maturity, but those rates continue to fall, and they have been falling for the past few months. I predict that those rates will continue to fall. That sort of rate does have a direct impact on the borrowing rates of mortgage borrowers, so people going out using a loan to buy a house. So those are the reasons for my first prediction, which is rates for mortgage loans will fall to at least 6% by July of 2024. My second prediction for 2024 in the real estate market in Portland, Oregon is that sales volume is going to increase a significant amount in comparison with 2023. Now keep in mind, sales volume, which I covered in a separate video recently, is very low. It's even lower than it was at the worst point for sales volume, that is, during the financial crisis that started in 2006. That happened in 2008. What I expect, though, is sales volume of residential real estate in Portland will increase by at least 10% in comparison with 2023. I think actually it could go as high as about up 20%. Part of the reason for that is mortgage rates have fallen by about 1.5% over the past couple of months leading into the end of 2023. And given my first prediction that interest rates will reach a low of at least 6% during 2024, if that were to happen, I would expect that sales volume in Portland, Oregon would go up by about 20% in comparison with 2023. Part of what's been going on in the residential real estate market in Portland and all around the US is that plenty of would-be sellers are not putting their houses on the market if they don't have to make a move to buy the house they want or to move into the neighborhood they want to, closer to bars and restaurants and with higher walkability, or to cut their commute time, because a lot of would-be sellers, homeowners that is, who don't have to move, have rates currently that they're paying of 3 or 3.5%, 4%, Compare that to what it got up to in the middle of October, which is 8%, and even to what it is currently at 6.6% or so at the end of December 2023. That would increase their payments, given that rates more than doubled, by as much as 40% if they were to borrow money to buy a house. That has caused a lot of would-be sellers, who would be buyers too, to not put their houses up for sale. I expect that people are going to start doing what they need to do as concerns buying houses and selling to make that move that they want to make for a couple of different reasons. This is a part of prediction number 2. It's a little bit involved, but as time goes on, people become more and more used to what's been going on most recently. This case, it is that interest rates are quite a bit higher than what they have been for years. They have been for the past couple of years. That has become the new norm, and I think people are just going to make the move that they want to make to get on with what it is they want to be doing in their lives instead of waiting until rates fall. Keep in mind too, if you're a would-be home buyer, if you buy currently, and let's say you get a rate of 6.6 or 6.7%, roughly around there, if rates were to fall in the future after you buy, it could make sense for you, after you talk with the mortgage lender, to refinance your house and get a lower rate. So you get the benefit of getting a house at current pricing and possibly get a lower rate. This leads into a prediction of mine for 2024, and that is if interest rates go to 5.75% or 5.5% or even lower, I would expect that prices for single family homes in particular in Portland, Oregon, will increase by 6 to 8%. If rates drop to 6% or 6.25% on average during 2024, I would expect to see the single family sales price to end up going up by about 4 or 5% during 2024. As a part of all of this, there's one thing to make note of that's very important. As I've mentioned, sales volume is very low in comparison with what it has been during 2015 through 2021. It's at a very low point, even lower than what it was during the peak or the bottom of the financial crisis in 2008, when sales volume was very low. What you need to watch out for or be aware of is that when sales volume is very low, especially when you look at sales in a month like December or January, when traditionally sales volume is low anyway, the actual houses that sell in that month have a disproportionately large impact on what the average sales price is. If there are a lot of houses that are higher in price that sell in a given month, like say in January of 2024, and there are not many low price houses that sell in that month, and it's a month when maybe there are only 300 houses that sell all around Portland, single family houses that is, what can happen is the average sales price could look like it's spiked up. Beware of headlines that'll say, sales prices are climbing, they're going through the roof, they're skyrocketing, when sales volume is very low. The opposite's also true. Depending on what actually sells in any given month, the sales price can look artificially lower, dramatically so from one month to the next. So it's best to look at what sales prices are doing over a longer period of time, say over the course of 6 months or a year, not from one month to the next. So as we get into January, February, and March, keep in mind sales volume is still very low. So it's going to be easy to see price changes from December to January or January to February that might look like sales prices are up or down by 5%, and then see headlines that try to scare you saying, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, prices are collapsing, when really it's just the short-term mix of what actually is getting sold. So beware of headlines that say from January to February, they're evaluating price changes that say things such as, the sky is falling, prices are down 7% in Portland, Oregon in 1 month, or in Denver, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Georgia, it doesn't matter. Just beware of headlines like that. You can read the article, usually they're full of facts and factoids and they might have a bias, but the headlines usually are garbage. So don't just read a headline and believe what they write. Statistically, it might be true that sales prices have dropped by 7% in 1 month over the next, but it really is just dependent upon the mix of what sells in any given month compared to the previous month. Look at longer term trends. My next prediction is, could be not exactly bad news, but it's not bright sunshiny news for buyers. And that is, I don't think affordability is going to improve in 2024. I don't expect it to get a lot worse either, though. What I mean by affordability is, if you look at the monthly payment that you have to make if you were to buy a house currently, and let's say you borrow 95% of the value of the house to buy the house, the monthly payments that you make currently if you were to buy, in comparison with where they're going to be at the end of 2024, will be pretty similar for any given house priced at the average sales price at that time. In January, if the average sales price in Portland, Oregon, I'll just pick a number that's halfway realistic, for single family houses is $650,000. And let's say you borrow at 6.5%. I believe your monthly payment that you're going to have to make that purchase, borrowing at that rate, is going to end up being about the same as what it'll be in December if you were to wait until December and buy at a lower price if rates go up, or I expect rates to go down, and in which case, as I predicted, if rates go down enough, say at about 5 3/4 or so, maybe 5.5%, I would expect for sales prices to go up by as much as about 8%. So as sales prices go up, if rates go down, I predict that monthly payments are going to stay pretty flat all year. So it's relatively good news in that affordability has been dropping over time all around the US and including in Portland. But that's my prediction for affordability for Portland, Oregon for 2024. Click the link in the description to get notified when we put out market reports, seller tips, buyer tips, and more. Also, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video.